Hey guys, zpolt here. Welcome to my lab. So really excited about this video because we're now reviewing the KZ ZSN Pro. So this is the new KZ ZSN from KZ, one of the top sellers of KZ and one of the favorites here in this channel in the budgetfi range. So how does the ZSN Pro stack up against the ZSN, and is it better sounding? Do I prefer the ZSN Pro now as my top recommendation here in this channel? We're gonna find out in this video. But of course, we review budgetfi to midfi audio gear, so if you're into that, consider subscribing. So we're gonna unbox the ZSN Pro first. But right off the bat, guys, as you can see, the look here is a little bit different from the get-go. And as you can see the ZSN Pro right here. It says double magnetic, dynamic, balanced armature, classic new upgrade with pure treble and dynamic low frequency. Says here 29 grams and 0.75 millimeter pin type, 7 to 40,000 hertz in terms of the frequency range. So it's the typical packaging of KZ right here, nothing to write home about. Let's try to open this up, and you're greeted with the case right away. And yeah, as I have mentioned a while ago, it does look different here. It does look a bit more aggressive in design compared to the KZ ZSN. So instead of holes in the KZ ZSN, you have sort of like ridges, like spikes here in the ZSN Pros. And definitely I got the black version, the graphite version, which is something I like. Let's put that aside first. Let's go to the cables. And here in the cables, you have from the get-go, it looks like the typical KZ cable. Does it have memory ear hooks? It does have memory ear hooks here. L plug, and also fork right here, typical fork. And it does feel the same as the usual KZs, but it does have the new connector here from the KZ ZSN original. So yeah, it's still confusing for me that they use different cables, different connectors depending on the IEMS. So let's go to the tips now, and I'm pretty sure this is Starlight tips. It is, but again, this is the new Starlight tips. It is the softer version. It's not the glossy one. This is more of a matte kind of Starlight tip right here. So I kind of prefer this over the previous tips that they have. So it's good to see that KZ is upgrading their package overall. So let's go to the lobes now, and again, I'm digging this look. Right off the bat, I kind of like this better compared to the KZ ZSN in terms of the looks. But of course, it's just me because I prefer, black, matte black everything, and this it definitely feels more pro-ish in a way compared to my KZ ZSN. So you have the lobes now. As you can see, guys, you have ridges right here. Let's do a closer look. So you can see it's like a spike there instead of like crevices in the old ZSN Pro. The shape is similar here. It is almost the same here, but there's less holes right here in the ZSN Pro compared to the normal ZSN. And again, the design is more aggressive in a way. And yeah, here at the other part, I chose this kind of color, which is I would say nice looking. It's more subdued kind of color. And again, as you can see, guys, here and the tips part, this is softer compared to the usual KZ. So yeah, I'm pretty good so far, I would say. This is a notch up compared to the previous KZs, except for the cable. The cable is still, I'm not a fan of. I kind of actually like this kind of copper cable that they include in the previous KZ. The color is not that bad. This is not something I like, the brown kind of color. I wish it was all black, but yeah, definitely you can change cables maybe to a TRN one in the future. So let's put a cable in, and I'm gonna have a comfort test. So definitely this new connector is definitely a lot more stable, 2 times, 3 times more sturdy compared to the previous. This won't fall off. This is really tight right here. And again, nice to see that you have this kind of ear hook design here. Okay, so let's have a first wear here. So this is what it looks like. In terms of fit, it is the same as the KZ ZSN. Definitely it has the same shape here, but it does look good here. I like the black kind of design more than the kind of silver aluminum here. This is I would say more wearable for me, more kind of cool looking, I would say, more awesome looking compared to the purple that you have with the KZ ZSN. So yeah, definitely it has a more kind of pro vibe here in the ZSN Pros. The isolation is very good here with that custom IEM kind of shape. It does isolate really well. I would say above average in terms of isolation. The fit is really good. The ear hooks really good also, as with the previous ZSN also. So it translates here in the ZSN Pros. So in general, I would say for the build and comfort department, this is a slight notch up compared to the previous KZSN. So I already listened to the ZSN Pros, and right off the bat, I'm really liking the ZSN Pros more so than the ZSNs. This may be my top recommendation now under $20, and here is why. So first, this has more extended highs compared to the ZSN. The ZSN already has good highs, but they take it a notch further in the ZSN Pros, and they pretty much upgraded slightly each part of the spectrum. So it's still a balanced sound. It's still V-shaped, but the mids are more forward in the mix. So it's easier to locate the mids here compared to the old ZSN. This has more crispy highs, more shimmer on top. So that highs extension, again, it's definitely a notch up compared to the ZSN. So if you like highs, maybe this is something that you want to get over the ZSNs. So this is still a musical sound, a lively sound. I would say that this is even a little bit more colored sounding, more lively, more fun sounding compared to the ZSN. The ZSN is already fun to begin with. They take it again a notch further here in terms of the fun department. So this is more lively sounding. There's more punch here. The mids also are more detailed here. Again, more forward in the mix in the ZSN Pros. The mids in the ZSN is something I didn't like here. In the ZSN Pros, I already like the mids here. Bass is in the boomy side but not overly boomy. I would say that they're pretty comparable in the ZSN. There's not much difference between the both in terms of the bass. Imaging is a bit better here. This is also what surprised me in the ZSN Pros, how better the imaging here is in the ZSN Pros. I would say that when you first listen to this side-by-side A/B test it, the 3D stage here in the ZSN Pros are better compared to the old ZSNs. The sound stage is about the same, but a little notch up here in the ZSN Pros. It's still in the intimate territory, but they're pretty much the same here, but notch up in the ZSN Pros. And because of that, as I mentioned, kind of improvement in imaging, it did give it a more like 3D stage here in the ZSN Pros. Instrument separation here is actually less than the ZSN, I would say, because the presentation here is more smooth. It's not as black and white as we have with the ZSN. So sibilance is well controlled here. I didn't experience problems with sibilance here, but definitely for those guys who are sensitive in the highs department, you may experience some fatigue when listening to this because of that more extended highs on tops, especially when you're listening to tracks that maxes out the sibilance. This may be fatiguing for you, especially if you're listening to high volumes. So that is something for you guys to note. If you are really treble sensitive, maybe the ZSN is a better pick for you. Overall, I'm really impressed with this sound-wise. This is my new favorite now in a sub $20 range. This is an upgrade from the ZSN. So I'm gonna have a full comparison with other earphones, but first compared with the CCA C10, I would say that they're already pretty much in the same level. I would say they're sort of a side grade. If you like a V-shaped sound, go with the ZSN Pros. If you like more balanced, more forward mix, go with the C10s. But yeah, in terms of sound, I would say that they're already comparable here. The ZSN Pros, even if it's cheaper, I would say it can compete with the CCA C10. But I would say the CCA C10 is still more detailed overall, especially in the mids department. But the CCA C10 is kind of a more relaxed listen. The CCA C10 has less crispy high, but the mids are more detailed in the CCA C10. The bass is also more in the background in the CCA. So if you're a bass head, the C10 may not be for you. So I would say, yeah, overall, because of that detailed retrieval and also the mids, you guys know I love my mids. I still prefer the CCA C10 over the ZSN Pros. I would say, again, they're pretty close here. Okay, so verdict. So ZSN Pros, yes, definitely I would say that they're really worth the money. KZ again hit the home run with this with the ZSN Pros. So the ZSNs are already the top recommendation here in the channel in the sub $20 range. And you even upgrade each part of the spectrum. It has better highs, better detailed mids. Bass quantity is about the same. Imaging is better. Soundstage is a little bit better. And I would say that the looks are also better here because of that, subdued kind of color with the lobes, the black kind of thing. It looks better here. This is definitely, I would say, really worth the price. I would definitely recommend it here. This is really good sounding for the price that you're paying for around $12, around $20, $12, $15, $20. This is definitely worth it. I would definitely recommend it. So that is my review of the ZSN Pros. Have you guys heard of the ZSN Pros already? What are your thoughts with the ZSN Pros? Let me know down below. And of course, I'm gonna do more comparisons here with the ZSN Pros and other $30 earphones, $20 earphones here in this channel. So of course, subscribe here for more content like that in the future. Stay tuned here and hit that bell button as well so you'll be first notified when you first go live in an awesome video. And of course, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.